Well, Election Day is next Tuesday, and more than 555,000 New Yorkers have cast their votes already.
This week, we are taking a closer look at some of the big races across the capital region, and today we are focusing on the race for the 20th Congressional District.
Here's a look at the updated congressional maps for the race in the 20th District. Following redistricting earlier this year, the district includes parts of Saratoga, Rensselaer, Albany, and Schenectady counties. It previously included all of Albany and Schenectady counties and portions of Montgomery, Rensselaer, and Saratoga counties.
Longtime incumbent Paul Tonko is up against Republican Liz Joy, and both candidates are here in the studio with us right now. And thank you both for being here with us.
Thank you.
Paul Tonko is serving his 7th term after first being sworn into Congress in 2009. He serves on the Energy and Commerce committees. Liz Joy is a Blue Star mother and veteran's wife. She's not held elected office before. Joy points to her family's military service as her motivation to serve. Again, thank you both for joining us. And as we've said to you during the commercial break, we prefer that this not devolve into a debate, that we address the voters on the issues. So, Paul, let me begin with you. Tell us what one thing you've accomplished since you've been in Congress that you're most proud of, that has had the biggest impact on the people of the Capital Region.
Well, I think we're an energy transition area as a 20th Congressional District. And so I've worked on comprehensive legislation to transition us into that innovation economy, which will provide sound union-paying jobs and provide for an energy independence. Because our destiny today is controlled by petro dictators. So we want to be independent of that and also build a foundation that already has begun from my days in the Assembly that transitions us into a new breed of energy and efficiency so that we're resourceful, whatever that mix might look like.
Liz, what is your specific day one priority if you're elected to Congress?
Well, number one, that's becoming energy independent. So obviously, the people here in the Capital Region, right, we're seeing a 39% increase in our national grid bill. My opponent does sit on the Energy and Commerce Committee and voted for that increase. That's something that I am fighting to bring down. As a mom, and with a family, and like so many others out there, this is a very, very harsh reality for people, and they're having trouble making ends meet. So I'm going to make sure that we're energy independent, making sure that we are not reliant on other countries for our gas, for our oil, and increase the competitiveness that we have in our energy.
Paul, with President Biden's sagging approval ratings,
sure,
if he were to endorse you, would you accept it? Why
sure.
or why not?
Yeah, the president has led us through some very difficult times. A global pandemic of COVID-19. As a nation, we struggled as others did, and is now working us through a global inflation, which became part of that package of COVID. It was a ripple effect. So, there are a lot of things that we're putting into play, some immediate work. The child tax credit to reduce costs for families, put food on the table. That was brought back to the forefront so that families enjoyed it for a year. It was suspended in 21. It sunsetted because we couldn't get Republican support on the Hill. But I will fight to bring that back because we lifted 1/2 of children living in poverty out of that poverty. And that, along with the energy bills, making certain that we invested another $1 billion countrywide, with $412 million coming to New York to help pay with those bills that were impacted by inflation, those energy bills.
Liz, if former President Trump endorsed you, would you accept it, and why?
I don't know if he's going to be running in 2024. I did not seek the President Trump's endorsement when I ran in 2020, and I did not seek it this time. I don't feel that I need it. I'm running on focusing on bringing down inflation and groceries and gas, and I'm running on decreasing violent crime and keeping fentanyl out of our communities.
Would you accept it if he offered?
I haven't asked for it. No, there's 5 days left.
During your recent debate, you said, Liz, that the Inflation Reduction Act is the same act that gave us 87,000 new armed IRS agents to come after your wallets, our checkbooks. What do you mean by that? Do you stand by that?
I do stand by that. That's in the bill. It's after page 1,000 in the bill of the Inflation Reduction Act. That sadly, the Democrats also, put in there Medicare costs in there. So they're trying to tie those two things together. I think those two things should be completely separate, and that is in the bill. 87,000 new IRS agents coming after, the people that are working hard to put food on the table and pay for their gas and energy bills, and it's unacceptable. We don't need that. What we need is real solutions to drive down inflation, to drive down crime, supporting our police officers and our law enforcement to keep everybody safe. And we need to keep the fentanyl out of our communities, and we need to have an accountable government.
Paul, you voted in favor of the Inflation Reduction
Right.
Act. Does it have 87,000 armed IRS agents?
You know, I've noticed in these campaigns across the country that there's a lot of misinformation. You can Google through the agency with their account, 87,000 new people. That includes those who are leaving that work at the agency. One of the biggest concerns I get from constituents that we respond to is getting their tax return back in as quick as a period of time. That is all a function of the numbers of people working there. They gutted agencies. When they say reduce government, they gut agencies like EPA, like the DOE, the Department of Energy, and the IRS. So some of this help will go toward that. But any of the investigatory work will be done in the $400,000 up category. So, you know, I think information here is essential to be accurate so that people know exactly what happened with the measure. But, you know, the inflationary spiral, putting food on the table for children with the child tax credit, that covers the entire family. Most of that money, when we did that for calendar year 21, because it was retroactive, most of that went for food and essentials. So it tells us that there's two economies out there, and so we need to move forward with very thoughtful policy and resources.
I would like to point out that in that bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, you have to remember that those 87,000 new IRS agents does make the IRS larger than the FBI, the State Department, and Border Patrol combined. That's a concern. Americans are not focused on that. They want safety and security, and they want a strong economy, and the IRS is not going to be doing that for us.
In the remaining time we have left, I wanted to ask both of you about the tone of this campaign and your last debate. There were moments where things got heated. Our viewers are seeing the ads. So what can you both say about the tone of this race? Liz, if you would start, please.
I think the tone of this race is that, you know, you have to remember the average income here in the capital region is $70,000 before taxes. People are being crushed by the cost of groceries. They're being crushed by their utility bills. Many people who have seen them now go up, you know, dramatically, 39%. That's absolutely enormous. They're having trouble making ends meet. There's an entire new demographic of people that are going to food banks that have never had to go to food banks before. The crime is out of control. We just witnessed in Western New York a mother who was shot in cold blood after pleading with the police not to let her attacker out of jail. They let him out because of these failed bail reform laws. She was shot dead in front of her children. I think that there is a very, very underlying current of being upset and angry at the things that the people here feel, that they do not feel that government officials are listening to them. They feel that agendas are being passed that are not in line with the concerns and the worries that they have, and I will change that.
10 seconds remaining. What nice thing would you say about your opponent?
I'm glad that you're here today, Paul. Thank you.
Paul, what would you say to Liz?
Well, I would thank her for being a Blue Star mom, but to the IRS, my constituents demand, and they deserve, to know that they're not paying $1 more than is fair in their taxes. To do that, you need to make certain the reviews are done. Again, people that are of the ultra wealth category and big corporations need to pay their fair share. That will happen with that measure. In terms of the tone of my campaign,
yes, I wanted to hear your
absolutely
perspective
no
on that.
attacks on my opponent. I've put out there what I've done, what I've accomplished, what I want to do if I'm returned to office with the trust placed in me by the constituents. I appreciate that. I think I've been told many times over, people watch my ads because they're kind.
We appreciate the civility you've both shown today.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
Our pleasure,
Thank you
my
for being
pleasure
here.
at least.